This is my next project. Wow, this is going to be interesting. This is an antique table. I don't have a top for it. And I got some parts that came off of it that I'm going to reinstall. This face here used to be veneered. I'm going to see if I can re-veneer it. The front of the drawer used to be veneered. I may re-veneer it. And I need to make a tabletop. So what we're going to do is right now it's just friction fit together. I'm going to disassemble it. And I'm going to start sanding and cleaning it up. And we will proceed from there. I have sanded everything I can sand with the drum sander. I'm going to use a palm sander to sand these legs, and I'm not going to sand them that much. I'm going to use a palm sander to sand the face of this drawer, and again, I'm not going to sand it that much. I'm going to leave the inside white. I've got to figure out how I'm going to deal with this. This is in pretty bad shape. I'll think about that. I have this sampler of veneers, and I'm thinking I'm going to veneer. This was originally veneered, and I'm going to veneer this one color, and then I'm going to also veneer the face of the drawer, make it look nicer. I'm debating on how I'm going to do joinery on this particular table. This table is at least 70 years old, and it had dowel joinery, and it survived all this time pretty well with hide glue. And I don't know, I'm not a big fan of dowel joinery, but it might be the way to go here. Most of these dowels are broken, like here, and the ones that are intact are still kind of cracked, so they all have to be replaced. So I was thinking of doing mortise with a floating mortise, but the problem is that will work fine on the side pieces, but on the front and the back, you know, it's just one dowel. So it's a tough situation to work out. This might be a mistake in the making, but I've decided I'm going to go ahead and just cut off these dowels, and then using a doweling jig, re-drill them out and put new dowels in. And if it succeeds, it succeeds. If it doesn't, then this video is over, really. So let's proceed with that plan, and we'll cross our fingers, cross our eyes, cross our T's, and hope for the best. All these holes came out really good, and they did perfectly, except for one. This one right here blew out the side. You gotta, you can ask any mechanic, there's always one. There's always going to be one that's going to mess up. So, damn it. Well, I will let this be a problem for future 10 fingers. The back panel is curved and is built up with different pieces of wood. I'm not really sure if this was the way it was supposed to look for a beauty shot or if this is just a substrate. But regardless, it needs to be fixed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use super glue to reattach all these pieces together. And then there was a plywood backstrap, and then I'm going to, once that's re-glued back together, I'm going to use regular glue and glue it on. I think it's probably easier going to be doing it that way. So I think I am going to be done for today. Not because I'm tired or it's late, but because it is raining and coming down pretty hard. And there's some lightning and thunder going on. Oh, that was a good one. Before I start reassembling, I'm going to go through all these parts and sand them to 220. I'm going to start at 120 and clean them up as much as I possibly can. Once they're sanded, I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to round over with the 1/8 inch round over bit a lot of these parts so that they don't have sharp edges. I'm not going to show you all my sanding. I think I'm going to put you on time lapse so you can watch me do it, but slowly. The veneer I had was way too short and I didn't want to piece it together, so I decided to make my own veneer. So I used this piece of almond wood that I had, and I'm going to make my own veneer. I already did. It's thicker than most veneer, but I think it's going to do the job it needs to do. So what I did was, where did it go? Here it is. I cut a piece of masonite. I do not have a vacuum press, so I cut a piece of masonite to the right size, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp it on like this after gluing, and then when I release the masonite, the veneer will stay in place. That's the plan anyways. So what I'm gonna start is that, and keep the masonite from sticking to the board. I'm gonna sandwich some wax paper in between. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and glue the legs onto the sides as an assembly. and then tomorrow I'll glue the two assemblies together. So, woo woo baby, let's get it done. All the wax paper did the job it was supposed to do. It kind of stuck to the glue itself, but kind of folded the wax paper underneath too. Huh. Oh well. A little bit of cleanup necessary, but I think it came out all right. So what I need to do is trim these ends just by a smidge. Probably do that on the table saw. Clean up this glue squeeze out. I might be able to do that right here. It's only a couple spots of glue squeeze, huh? It's really not going to be that big of a problem. What I find is leaving squeeze out is a problem when you stain, but not so much if you just put a clear coat on top of the finish. That's my experience, at least. I'm sure there's others who will mention how this is such a horrible thing to have done, but I don't think so. There we go. All right, this came out pretty nice. I'm pretty pleased with the way it came out. There's a couple mistakes, like when I glued up the edge, I didn't put an adequate pressure on the whole edge, so then it curled up a little bit on that side. But you know what? It's going to be behind a piece of wood, so nobody's going to notice. If you don't tell anybody, I won't. I have the table glued up and clamped and ready to take a finish, and I have the veneer clamped onto the face of the drawer front. Okay, let's see how this veneer worked out. Hopefully a little bit better than the last attempt, because these edges are going to be visible. Alright, with a little bit of cleanup, I think that's going to be alright. Well, looks like the bottom is just about done except for finishing, so I will be doing that. I have put some stop blocks in the back to keep the drawer from going too far deep. If I were making this from scratch, quite honestly, I'd just go ahead and make the drawer full length. I mean, why the heck not? Then if you need more length, then you just pull the drawer out further. But I didn't make this from scratch. It has been a little while since I've worked on this table last. I have it all glued up, and now I'm going to work on the top. The original table had a round top with a drop leaf on either side, and that is what I'm going to work on now. So what I've done was, on this piece of craft paper, you can't really see it very well, but I have marked out the table layout and the drop leaf. I bought this poplar for this project. My plan is to stain it. Poplar stains rather nicely in my experience, and most people paint it, but I like the color of wood. Okay, I have the glue up completed. I have it smoothed out, rather nice. And this is going to be the top for the table itself. And then these are going to be the wings. And this top is way longer than it's going to be. It's going to be 30 inches. It's currently 36. And what I want to do is a bit of an oval. And I'm going to cut an oval using a jigsaw. But before I do that, I need to do the hinged top for the drop leaf, because if I do it now, then the oval will come out like this, and then when I cut the drop leaf, there'll be an overlap, and then it won't be nice and smooth transition. And then what I'm going to do is cut the with the router table the shape to overlap this, and then it won't look weird when I cut the oval. So once that is done, I will do finish sanding, and then I will fit the hinges on, and then we'll install it onto the table. And then we'll do a little dance. I have a couple separate videos on how I drew out the oval and also how I made the drop leaf. I'll try to remember to link to those videos here. I have used Danish oil to finish this, and 2 coats with a 15-minute wait between, and then wipe off the excess. Well, at long last, this project is done. I made a couple mistakes during the project, but I think it came out all right. Otherwise, lessons are learned. I don't know if I'm going to do another drop leaf ever again, but if I do, I know a lot more than I used to know. I think it came out all right. And Grandma's table has found a new home and a new life in our house.
Yay!
Good. Finally, after every woodworking project, you should always count your fingers. You end with 10. Good job.